Carolyn, David Johnston, and Peter Liu, Peter's now marketing.
I am.
And Carolyn's director of programs.
Yes.
And that's a huge job because MAPA is huge. And David is just always there. Are you able to hear okay, David?
I can hear fine.
Okay. And David Johnston continues to amaze with these great productions. And I don't know, it's the artistic, creative side just kind of really goes for it 100%. And you're going to go for it 100% with the Hunchback of Notre Dame. And it is Dame, not Dame. I actually asked Siri the other day. It is Notre Dame, right? Not Notre
Well,
Dame.
actually, everybody pronounces this Notre Dame, so...
Okay,
yeah,
well good, because
yeah.
Siri's wrong then.
Siri's wrong.
She just doesn't have her French accent on.
Well, I
That's
had
all.
my English Siri even say it wrong. So
Yeah.
there Notre Dame, from now on I stand corrected. This is going to be for 2 huge weekends at the MAC, and a beautiful Castle Theater is going to be transformed into Notre Dame, which I'm trying to even picture how fantastic that stained glass window is going to be. It's going to be mind-boggling. And the Hunchback swinging from the rafters on a rope, it's going to be awesome. And of course, this is like choreography. We love Andre.
We do.
You've worked with him so many shows, right?
This is our 5th show together.
Wow.
The 5th of the big summer shows, yes.
Yeah, and this is, actually it was a Disney. Would you have to get this through Disney, or did Disney own the rights to this?
It's Disney owns a piece of it, I think. I don't know if they own all of the rights to it. The music, yes, it's a lot of the same music from the animation, the Hunchback of Notre Dame animated film. And then there's additional music also that's been added to it. The script itself, the book part of the show, is a lot different from the animated film.
You know, I was talking to Carolyn about the original movie. I remember seeing it as a child, and I think I need to see it again. It always made an impression on me.
Mm-hmm.
It had such a mood to it. Of course, you know, I love Paris. Who doesn't love Paris? And I love going to Notre Dame. I was actually there one Easter, able to go to Easter Sunday Mass there.
Wow.
And if you walk around it, there is literally the ghosts of Notre Dame do live.
Yeah.
And that does a lot of people go there thinking of that movie, you know, and the Hunchback kind of has this aura and energy. So
I know, he's iconic. I mean, everybody thinks of the Hunchback when they think of Notre Dame.
They do.
And actually, I read something interesting recently that said that somebody went back and looked at some of the records of some of the artisans who worked on building Notre Dame Cathedral, and that there was a reference to a hunchback who was one of the artisans.
So Victor Hugo might have actually stole from reality. It might
Exactly.
have been based on something that really happened.
Yeah, it may have been.
Oh my gosh, that's giving me chicken. That I never would have ever thought that's possible. Wouldn't that be interesting?
Well, you know, and even if it wasn't based on real life, all of these characters feel so real. When you read the script and hear the music and watch them in rehearsal, it taps into something that's inside of us that you know is a kind of a string that carries us all the way back through history. So that human nature, David can speak to that much more eloquently than I can.
Well, first of all, let's mention who's playing who. This is you know, there's a lot of people that would love to do this role, but it is. I was talking to Peter about it before we started. I mean, this is a very athletic role. I mean, you're actually talking about ropes here and being able to move around, and so it's not just a walking around the stage role here on this one, right?
This one is not, no. And we opted to go very athletic in terms of the casting with it too. You could probably do it in a more sedate way, but I just see him as somebody he's like I don't mean this in a derogatory way, but it's his area. He's like a little monkey the way he knows the facility, and he climbs over everything, and he gets around that Notre Dame pretty fast. So
yeah.
But he's very, very physical in our production. So.
And our actor is named David Tuttle, and he is fantastic.
Oh boy.
He's so limber and strong, and you should have seen the auditions that David did. Do you want to talk about the auditions, David, for what you had them do physically? It was really cool.
We just asked them to improvise. We gave them like three different set pieces, like a ladder, a bench, a stool, that kind of thing, and ask them to improvise some movement to one of the numbers that they did. So we gave them about 10 minutes to come up with a little bit of their own choreography and
Wow.
physicality.
Well,
David was leaping up on the stools and jumping
Literally.
from one stool to the step ladder, and we're all like, he's
I know. Please don't hurt yourself. He was literally hanging from the rafters.
And yes, and he did
In
hang
that
from the
dance studio.
rafters, yes.
That's amazing, but you also have to be able to sing.
You do, yeah.
You know, and you have to be able to act.
And act, yeah. This is a demanding role, and David's doing a great job. He's got all three of those capabilities, and he's bringing it on. So I think people are going to be really delighted and surprised and carried away with him.
Well, you know, the reason we wanted you in now, this year, it's a week later, I believe. Usually you're always, you know, in August, but this year, it's August 25th through the 27th as the first week, and the second week is September 1st through the 3rd.
That's right.
But the thing is, tickets just went on sale.
Yep.
So there are always people that want the best seats, and everyone knows this is like the big production
Yeah.
of the summer, and you have very high standards you've always set. And it's always like you always have to jump through hoops to outdo yourself every year, right? And if you want to have the best seats, the thing to do is get your tickets early, like right now.
That's right. Now would be a great time. There's still great seats available, and it's funny because great seats are different for different people. Some people love that front row.
Right.
Other people love 2/3 of the way back,
Yeah.
and so there's still great seats available. And anybody can just call 242-SHOW, or go online to mauiarts.org. And we've made the ticket prices very reasonable this year. We were really blessed with some fantastic donors and sponsors who help us make ends meet for this production. And so the ticket prices can be a little bit lower than they have been in the past. So it's affordable for everybody.
I was not aware of that. What's the price?
The lowest ticket price starts at $20.
That's very affordable.
Very affordable. And
Wow.
then it goes up to $60 plus the facility fees that the MAC charges. So it's very affordable. And then it's basically $10 increments. So $20, $30, $40, $50, and $60.
And typically, most people want to go on the opening night.
People
We are
love
going
coming
on the opening night.
Yeah.
So if you want to go on Friday the 25th, you really should think of calling early. And that's a great
Definitely.
price, enough for the whole family.
Well,
to go.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And this is it's interesting because each year you have all kinds of challenging shows you always pick, David. I don't know, do you ever limit yourself in saying, no, that's too challenging? I doubt it. You never have said that, have you?
I don't think we've ever gone that
You know?
way. No.
I mean, I almost wonder if you say, "Oh no, I want something more challenging," but you are always kind of pushing the limits. But the thing that is interesting is that there is the talent here on Maui to pull it off, and I think it's a chance for everyone who knows and have gone to so many. You have regulars that go without fail every year,
Oh, yeah.
and I think there's always a chance to go, "Oh, what's going to happen this year? Oh, I mean, how do you outdo that?" Or you know, this is really a challenge. How is he going to pull this one off, right?
We get that every year. And
Yeah.
I've had people come up to me, since we finished Jekyll and Hyde last year, and go, okay, so what are you going to bring us this year? What are you going to challenge us with this year? And
You kept it under your hat for a long time.
well, we didn't have it for a long time.
I thought it was all a promotion.
No, people think I'm trying to keep secrets with the show selection, but I'm not. It takes a long time to decide, and actually Hunchback didn't become available until really the last minute, and
Wow.
we were headed in a little different direction, and then Hunchback became available, and I said, let's rethink this. So
And it is a family-friendly show.
It's dark. I mean, it does have a dark side to it, but it also has a really hopeful side. And we're recommending it for ages 12 and up. However,
Yeah.
parents know their kids best, and
Yeah.
and there will be kids who are under 12 years old who would be just fine with it. More just for the adult themes in there.
The important theme, of course, is people's prejudice and without fail, their judgment of people who aren't what they consider, and it still goes on without fail. We still judge other people based on the way that they look. And that's one of these haunting themes behind the Hunchback of Notre Dame. Here's this beautiful soul who kind of knows everything that's going on, always knows he has to kind of be in the shadows, and kind of always knows that he'll never be accepted for who he is, and totally one of these amazing beings that falls in love and has to kind of deal with this, which is a great theme for people to look at. I mean, how do you approach this as a director, and how to convey his angst, his sorrow, his pain?
First of all, well spoken.
Yes.
What a great synopsis of the show. I'm going to take you out on the marketing tour.
Oh, yes. I'll do it for free.
All right. You heard it. It is, that theme carries through in so many ways in this production too. It's not just Quasimodo who's dealing with being an outcast. It's almost every main character in the show is an outcast in one way or another, and they're struggling with that issue of being different, being other, and that was one of the things that really attracted me, and I think our organization, to this show at this time, was that issue that we can do better about our acceptance of one another, and we need to see each other for who we really are, not just what we think people are about. And that's the struggle that the characters go through.
And isn't it interesting that all happens in the Queen of Churches?
Absolutely.
You know, that this is
is
under the auspice of this church, that this drama is coming place, because the church has been considered a sanctuary where people still to this day, refugees go to churches to try to keep from being, taken away and, having to be sent back home. Right. But the church is supposed to be a sanctuary, so here you have all this amazing drama and this pain and this working out happening. And it's such a classic, wonderful story that Victor Hugo wrote. And so how do you, at this point, put the cast together? One thing that I've always loved about Mappa shows is you have this huge resource of people who have gone through the ranks and love to be in your shows. So you not only have great leads, but you have this amazing cast, and usually rather large cast of people involved in your shows as well. Is that once again
true? This is a large cast again.
Okay.
This is a unique one because we have our leads, which are a handful, like about 6 people that have the leads, and then we have an ensemble, and that's about 28 people in
wow.
it, and the ensemble's on stage, and they play all sorts of different parts. This is the structure of this piece is a storytelling kind of piece, so people are in and out of different characters right in front of us. They transform. And then we have an onstage chorus also.
Wonderful.
And that's about 38 people.
Wow, that's a big chorus. And a live orchestra?
And a live orchestra,
wow.
yeah. So we're up in the 70s.
Yeah.
70s, I guess, when we start putting the orchestra in with everyone.
Are you already in rehearsals?
We are deep in rehearsals, yes, yeah. We've been rehearsing, we started with the music in May, and then we just started our blocking, our staging rehearsals, really the 1st of June.
July. I don't know, what month are we on?
No, about the middle of June, I guess, is when we started
well, you've
that.
done, not only that, you've done this whole while you're moving. You know,
yes.
You did this, you're laughing. I mean, everyone I know has been moving, including me, but it's not an easy thing to move. You didn't move that far, but that doesn't make a difference. Moving from your location from one side of the street to the other side of the street was a lot of work, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'm surprised they still have a staff, actually.
It's been crazy.
I pushed them pretty far this year.
It was pretty crazy. Although actually we just moved our administrative offices, so we moved from Church Street to one of our new buildings that we just purchased, which is 2050 Main Street. And then we did move our costume shop from across the street in our studio building to 2050. So now we own these 3 buildings right there on Main Street, 2 on one side of the street and 1 on the other side of the street. And we've got big plans for Wailuku. We're really blessed to be in a position where we can be working with lots of different community members and other arts organizations, business owners, landowners. and the county, and the goal is to create an arts district for Wailuku.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. And I probably should throw in here now, you also have a couple other shows going on.
We do. We have a show opening this Friday, actually. We have Mulan, Disney's Mulan Junior. It's the culmination of our summer musical theater camp. So we've got 54 kids.
Oh, good. Mulan.
Yeah,
Beautiful,
Mulan.
Beautiful artwork. I don't know.
Yeah,
that
Pat Narrow did that artwork
Lovely
for us,
artwork.
and yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
And we've got about 54 kids in this production,
Wow.
and it runs for 2 weekends,
And that's at?
and it's at the theater up at Seabury Hall.
I love that.
Yeah, so until we have our own theater here in Wailuku again.
Is that going to happen?
Yes, yeah, within the next couple of years, we're going to transform. 2020 Main Street is going to be transformed into a sort of black box. We're calling it the Performance Garage.
Wow.
Because that building was the first car dealership on Maui.
Really?
Built back around 1920.
Wow.
And it'll be kind of bare bones.
2020's on which side of the street?
2020 is on the same side of the street as Giannato's. So
Okay, so it's right there.
Yeah.
Where the food court is.
2050 is where the food court is.
Okay.
And then just downhill of that is 2020. There used to be a store called Business Etc. in
Oh,
there.
right there. Okay,
Yeah.
I know
So
where that
that's
is.
the building. It's a really charming
Yeah.
building. And so that's going to become
That's going to be the theater.
Well, it'll be a performance space that is like a black box
Wow.
theater that we can transform into being theater in the round,
How
or
fun is that?
and then eventually we'll have a big
Wailuku's
theater.
becoming, that's going to be theater central here. in
It is.
Wailuku.
It is.
I mean, other areas call themselves art, areas, Lahaina, and you'll be the theater.
We will be the performing arts district.
Yeah,
That's
you
right.
definitely
And,
will.
each community has its own little identity.
Yeah.
And Wailuku has struggled to find our identity.
Wow.
And so, as an arts and cultural district, we're really excited to play a big part in that.
That's thrilling. That's thrilling.
Yeah.
So when you're doing your rehearsals now, David, which building do you choose?
I just wander around till I find everybody. No, we're
You have to
actually
keep GPS on
Yes.
Yeah, right.
we're using our first building, 2027,
Okay.
Mappa Main we call it. Yeah.
Do you have a little more space in there now with that?
We do have some more space now because we moved the costume shop and moved some other stuff around. So we rehearse in one of the studios right now upstairs, one of the dance studios, and then they're building the set as we speak downstairs in
Now,
the big
who's
warehouse
building the
space.
set?
Jamie Tate.
Because
from
this is going to be a
Portland.
set like huge. This is a massive, hard to build set.
This is a big set, and we've kind of taken the idea that Notre Dame is sort of an unfinished work of art in itself. They're always working and remodeling and doing that kind of thing. So our idea was to blend the idea of workman's scaffolding and the working, the workman's kind of activities on top of the idea of the Notre Dame Cathedral. So to get our heights and to get levels and stuff in our set, we have huge scaffolding
Wow.
that we're working
And we're saying
in.
like
So
3-story scaffolding.
Yeah.
it's 3-story scaffolding. They just started putting it up in the rehearsal.
I have to
space
give a little
yesterday,
shout out
and I
here
was
because
like,
one of our sponsors is Atlas Sales. I contacted a couple of the contractors on the island. I said, okay, who do we go to if we need scaffolding? And everybody said Atlas Sales. And so we contacted them, and they made it possible for us to have all the scaffolding for the
Solid
next
scaffolding.
solid
Solid
scaffolding.
scaffolding,
Yes.
That you can, you have always been very lyrical in your set staging. You don't just have ever one solid set point. You move and you dance through a stage area, David.
It'll be the same thing this year. Yeah. We do have these 2 units that sort of represent the stained glass windows that are the anchor points for the set, but everything else is moving. Everything else is on wheels and will be moving.
I remember that last year you really didn't ever have you never off stage. Everything always stayed and just moved, and you just literally stayed. You didn't
Right.
ever go black, did you? Hardly
No,
ever.
no. I'm a big anti-blackout kind of
You're
director.
anti-blackout.
Yes. So,
Should we call it transparent? You're transparent with your work.
one of the things that always has bothered me is when you're watching a show and it's moving along wonderfully and you're so involved in the story, and then there's a blackout for scenery change.
And you're like, yeah.
It takes you right out of
It
the
does.
story.
Yeah, it's like a
So
jolt.
my thing has been how can we not do that, and how can we make the transitions from scene to scene mean,
in radio,
continue to tell the
we call it
story.
segues.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like segue
And that's
from
what
one
this
scene.
is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're an art of the segue. Now, it is a love story, and, you know, Will's making a comeback, and I was
Yes.
talking with Peter, he says, well, Will's a bass, and they always cast bass singers who are basses in the evil role. Will, once again, gets to play the bad guy, right?
He's the bad guy, but he's a complex bad guy. I was reading something that said that, you know, in terms of Disney, this is by far the most complicated evil character that Disney's ever
Really?
written. Yeah, and when we're working on it, he is complex. He's a tortured soul.
As is Quasimodo.
As
Yes.
is Quasimodo, right?
As is Esmeralda, really.
Yeah.
I mean, they all.
Esmeralda's a love interest who's playing Esmeralda.
Danielle Delaunay. She's fantastic. She played the mistress in Evita a couple of years
She
ago
was
for us.
amazing,
She's also our music director for Mulan.
Oh,
So she
wonderful.
is so busy right now. She's
Wow.
with all the kids all during the day and then comes to rehearsal with David at night. It's
She's
crazy.
fantastic. She's so
Yeah.
dedicated, and she's the kind of actress that I just love working with. It's like you work on some scenes in rehearsal, and then she's like, okay, I don't have this yet, but I'll get this, and she comes back the next day, and it's grown so much. She's
Well,
totally dedicated.
I do not want to forget your costumes, because the costumes are always fabulous on all of your MAPPA productions.
We have such an exciting costume team this year. We were contacted by a woman who lives in Warsaw, Poland, and she was coming to Maui. She's a fashion designer and a theater costume designer, and she was on Maui during the springtime because she wanted to. She's really into taking symbols from cultures and weaving it into her artwork, her clothing. And so she was on Maui to look at Hawaiian symbolism and that sort of thing. And she contacted us and she said, you know, I love working in theater and I'd love to be involved in this somehow. And so we were really blessed to be able to hire her. She worked from Poland, and we were able to hire her to design all of the costumes for all of our characters.
Oh
So
my
it's going to
gosh.
have a kind of different look than what we're used to because it's a fresh new eye.
Ah.
This fabulous European woman, her name is Dagmara, and unfortunately I can't pronounce her last name.
And
Can you, David?
She's going to ship all the
We're
costumes
just-
over.
We have a team here making the costumes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's going to be very interesting. Wow.
Yeah.
So this is always an exciting time, you know. Which show is this? You've done how many? Which production? This is number
This is
5?
number 5. This
Number
is our
5.
5th year of the big shows.
Started
yeah.
with Les Miserables,
Yes.
and then it was the Miss Saigon,
Mhm.
Miss Saigon,
and then Abita,
Evita,
and
Jekyll
then
and Hyde.
Jekyll and Hyde, and this is number 5.
right.
I have to throw out there, folks, that MAPPA is amazing and does great things for the community, but these shows are more expensive than you can imagine to put on.
Yeah.
They're huge amounts of money, because you've got to rent the MAC out, you know, not just for the 2 weekends, but you've got to get in there and do dress rehearsals. And then there's all the sets and there's everything. It's very, very expensive. So it's almost, well, it's not LA Hollywood prices, but you get there, you know. I mean, for Maui, it's definitely the most expensive stage production that happens here. So it's a lot of work. It's a lot of people volunteering their time. I mean, amazing amount of hours that go into these
Cannot
productions.
emphasize that enough and thank those people who do that, from the actors to people building sets and helping with costumes and just on and on everywhere. We couldn't do it without that volunteer help. So
Yeah.
And
So-
even the paid people who are working for pennies compared to, you know, what they're worth.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we've got Gary Levitt, who's our music director, who's been our music director for
He's great.
4 years
years.
now, and he was in Les Mis, so couldn't music direct that one, but he's been our music director the rest of the time. He's fantastic, and we have a new stage manager this year. Her name is Angel Emerson, and she's fantastic, keeps everybody organized, and so even the paid people working on the production are really almost volunteering.
Well, that's life on Maui.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
you know, but that's one of the exciting things. It's these people who believe in a project, and that's just the joy of theater. It's watching people come together and to build this community that's creating something out of nothing, and we're doing it
Yeah.
all together.
And there's
so.
a lot of pride. about this.
There's
You know,
incredible
there's
amount of pride.
that this really showcases
Yes.
that amazing talent that is here on Maui. And it's just, I hope everyone that's listening to this, because I'll rebroadcast it beyond Maui, some people actually come in, and if you're visiting, you have to see this. I hope people come who are staying at hotels and other places. Make a point of seeing this. You know, a lot of people have been here many other times and stay actually in people's homes and other places. You want to see what life's about and really see the community of what it's about. Come to a MAPA performance this summer and you will really be blown away, and it'll be a highlight. I guarantee you it'll be a highlight of your trip to Maui. So I hope more people who are visiting do come and get a chance to experience what MAPA is about, because it's been around now how many years?
44.
Oh my God.
I think.
Yeah.
4 years.
Yeah.
Oh
You know,
my
we
God.
actually have some visitors who saw Les Mis 5 years ago, and they have organized their trip to Maui every year based on the weekends that we're doing this big summer
See,
show.
Isn't that wonderful?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Carolyn.
Thank you,
I
Cindy.
know how busy and how much work you're doing. I know, and you know, you're kind of like a hometown girl, because I bump into you at all the
Yeah.
same restaurants. And David, I just really honor you. I mean, I really respect your work so much, and I just think
Thank you
you're
so much.
such an amazing talent. And I know you give it 150% when you work on these things, and so we're really so happy to have you here doing these great productions. And Peter didn't say a word behind the camera. It'll Facebook. You can see it on Facebook Live under what's the Facebook site that people can go to, Peter? You can say a couple words.
Yeah, just search for the Hunchback of Notre
The
Dame.
Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Event page.
Hunchback of Notre Dame on Facebook.
And Cindy, thanks to you and KAOI also for sponsoring our show again
so happy we
this
are.
year. Thank you for being a part of it. all.
I am really thrilled to be. And people, you can actually find, you might see little copy. Let's see, we got this year, we have magnets. We have magnets that Peter's created. We've got lovely posters you can put in your window. There's little coffee holders and lots of good things that you can do. And you certainly can always volunteer and help or sponsor events at MAPA. And you can contact MAPA and see their site at
MauiAcademy.org, and you can get all the contact information there.
MauiAcademy.org.
MauiAcademy.org.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Thank you,
Thanks
Cindy.
for having
Good to
us.
see you. Thank you
Good
for
to
coming
see you.
down, the
Thank
power
you.
team here.
Take care.
Thank you. And our